I've hired people that have, the most experience in the world at video and photography. And I've also hired someone that just is a great person that I've taught them how to do photo and video. And I would hire the great person every day and twice on Sunday over someone that maybe has just a super long list of experience.
Welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Craig and Craig Magrum.
Welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software platform and solution designed to help you manage, grow, and scale your real estate photography business. I'm Craig Magrum. I'm the business development and client care specialist for Spiro and one of the two hosts for the Spiro Podcast. And along with me, as always, our co-host and Spiro founder and leader, fearless leader, Todd Craig.
Hi, Craig. Hey, it's good to be here today for another week. Exciting topic. Got a dear friend on the podcast this week to share his insight and his expertise. He has probably brought on more photographers than anybody in the country, and excited to pick his brain today. So some formalities. If you are just joining us for the first time, thank you. Thank you for coming in and listening to us, spending some of your time. If you're joining us again, thank you for coming back. If you could subscribe to the podcast, that would help us. If you are on YouTube, if you could click the little notification bell, the red bell there, that will alert you when we put out new podcasts so that you can be up to date with the latest topics that we are discussing. And hey, we want this to be your podcast. We want to make sure that we can bring you value and use our expertise to help your company grow. If you have a question, email us, hello@spiro.media. We would love to answer your question. And if we can't, we'll find an expert that can answer it to give you a solution in growing and managing your real estate media business.
Yeah, Todd, we're going to cover an interesting topic today. We're living in an interesting time and really kind of a frustrating time. Ever since COVID, it seems like we and many other companies are having a harder time finding qualified contractors and employees to join our team and to help us scale and grow. And, you know, I've been reading a lot of the Facebook groups, the real estate photography groups, just about that challenge and finding photographers in people's local markets to help them grow. And the need to grow is still there. There are more and more realtors wanting professional photography and videography. So it's not that there's a less of a need. It's just finding good people that will come on board, and then the added challenge of retaining them to help you continue to grow. That's what we want to tackle today.
It is. And we have our VP of Quality and Training at WOW on today, Ryan Lieurance. So a little backstory about Ryan Lieurance. So Ryan and I, we grew up together. We were in Boy Scouts together and went through all high school and college together. We were roommates in college together. And we grew up after that, raised our families. Ryan, I think we probably talked about starting a shared farm. We've talked about saltwater fish tank. We've talked about just about everything under the sun. And we talk a lot about real estate media as well. So, Ryan, welcome to the podcast. And it's great to have you here today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It's an honor being here, Craig, Todd. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm here to help, and I'm so excited that there are others out there like us. We're in our own little world sometimes. We forget that there's others out there that are trying to make a go of it in the real estate media world. So I'm excited to bring any kind of expertise I can to this topic today.
Yeah, Ryan, thanks so much for joining us, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to share, because this is a question and a struggle that a lot of companies like ours are facing. And so right off the bat, can you tell us a little bit just about the challenges that WOW Video Tours has had since COVID in finding contractors, photographers, videographers in the last 2 years, just the challenges we've faced in finding people and keeping people?
Absolutely. And real quick, before that, I just want to give the people listening and watching a little background that I've been on both sides of the fence here. I started out at WOW or with WOW as a contractor. It was a grueling interview process with Todd here. So I mean, obviously, him hiring me was a no-brainer. We were friends, we were roommates, and so I transitioned from teaching to this job. But I was a contractor, so I know it from that perspective. And then now on the other side, hiring people. So just a little bit of background for the people listening. So they can. I do have perspectives from both sides.
Right. Just clarify for our listeners. You were a photographer, so the contractor employee, but you were a photographer, right? That's what.
Yes. I was a photographer with WOW to start out with, and now I've transitioned over to the other side, being the VP of Training and Quality Control. Absolutely. So, but Craig, go back to your question. One of the biggest challenges, actually, let's go back to pre-COVID. One of the biggest challenges was picking the right person out of so many good candidates. And being a young company, 10 years ago or whatever, when we were hiring new people, it was, we didn't have a system down yet. And so the problem back then is we had so many good candidates. How do we choose, how do we narrow it down? Now we're having the opposite problem. Is we know what we're doing, we know what we're looking for now, and we just don't have the people applying. So that is the biggest problem right now that we are facing, is just getting the qualified people, the amount of people that we need to sort through so that we can narrow it down to the best person. And what you don't want to do is settle. You don't want to settle for well, this is an okay person, or they have an okay skill set, and so that's the challenge right now is do we continue the look or continue the search, or do we settle? So right now it's just there's so few candidates to choose from. That's been the biggest challenge.
Yeah, it was really a good insight there, Ryan. It was a no-brainer to bring you on. So you were a teacher, and that you are by trade a teacher, and you were teaching elementary social studies and math at the time, and WOW grew into a very large contract, so it was very easy. I had the kind of free pass card to call you. And you already knew everything about shooting because we talked about, we spent so much time together. Mm-hmm. So it was easy for me to bring you on to begin with when we got that contract. But when you run out of hiring your friends and family, which has other challenges that is maybe another podcast that we all work through, that who do I hire? So for an individual out there, Ryan, who is growing right now and they are deciding that they are going to work on their real estate media business as opposed to in their business. So they're not going to shoot, or they're going to try to shoot less tours so that they can focus on growing their business. They don't have a family or friend, or maybe they've hired everybody they know. Where can they go? Where do you even start? If you've never hired anybody before, this is somewhat of a daunting process.
Oh, absolutely. As you said, Todd, I was a teacher. The hiring process is not my forte, not my world. It's definitely a weakness of mine that I've had to work on. And so, what we do here at WOW is our main kind of our search is through Indeed. So we put posts out there on Indeed to search in our different regions, and we're in a lot of different regions, which also makes it a little harder because I've had more Zoom calls this year than I have in my lifetime. With being in Cincinnati and Columbus and Dayton and even Charlotte, North Carolina, those interviews are a little more difficult to do. But that is our main source of search right now is Indeed. We've also tried Facebook groups. Haven't yielded I'm not as committed in that. I'm not a big social media guy. But someone that is on social media a lot, that would also be a very good resource. A lot of good groups out there with real estate, photographers, videographers. But our main search engine here is through Indeed, and that's how we search for our candidates here at WOW.
Yeah, great advice, Ryan. There is lots of platforms out there, and that's one that's worked well for us. And Also, just as a bonus question here, so I go to Indeed and now what do I do? Or I'm asking someone, so what do I do? I mean, do I fill out a form? I guess for someone who's never done it, what do they need to do?
Yeah, great question. Indeed makes it very easy. It's really step by step how to fill it out. And of course, as a company, you have to determine, are you hiring contractors or you're hiring W-2 employees? And again, Indeed has all those fields on there. They even have different, aptitude tests that people can take, about reliability and things like that you can also send these to the candidates. But it's very straightforward, get an account on Indeed. And you don't even have to spend a lot of money. Obviously, if you boost your post, it will be seen by more people. We've never really boosted a post, spent a lot of money on it, and we've been able to get really good candidates from there. But yeah, Indeed is a very easy platform to navigate and sort through resumes and the applicants. And so we've always kind of gone back to that. Like you said, there is lots of other platforms. Indeed's the one that we use because of the ease of use and just the results we've had from it. So,
yeah, awesome. So, okay, so I have a job posted, and just as a bonus content, if you want our job posting at WOW, just email us, Spiro, hello@spiro.media. I'll send you the posting that we do. You can take inspiration from that because honestly, we took inspiration from someone else. So go ahead. We can rinse and reuse that one. Make it your own. I mean, at least change WOW Video Tours to your company name. But I'll send it to you. You can look at it. Put that thing up there. Okay, so Ryan, we have individuals, applicants, say they're interested in the post. In the position, excuse me. Now, what are they typically looking for? These applicants they say, oh, this looks interesting. And what are they looking for out of that job?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. We get a wide array of skill set and candidates that send in, anyone from like, oh, I've held a camera before, so I'm going to apply for this, or hey, I have, a red, or, I'm into serious production, so, it's both ends of the spectrum. So, what people are looking for, it varies greatly. But honestly, the one thing, if I could say that people are looking for right now in these times is consistency. They want to know that they can have some consistent work. And we know the challenges with this business is consistency is something that you cannot guarantee. So the two things that I really preach in dealing with any situation, especially here at WOW, is communication and expectations. I think it is so important to be transparent. And people, sometimes even say, Ryan, you're almost like too transparent, too honest, like pull it back a little bit. But I think communication and expectations, you have to communicate exactly what this position is, what it can be, but realistically what it is. And what it is, we can offer you some jobs, and hopefully it'll grow into a lot of jobs. And luckily we've had the experience in WOW to know, kind of, it's not an exact science, but we've got it pretty darn close of what people can expect job-wise. That just speaks to you, Todd, of building, an amazing business in WOW, is that we can offer that to our photographers is not a guarantee, but we can offer them a more consistent work offering, which is nice. But communication and expectation are key when hiring anyone, because the last thing you want to do is bring them on and they're like, this isn't what I thought, or this isn't what you said. And right away you've broken trust with a potential long-term contractor or photographer. So you want to build that trust right away by setting those, communicating and setting those expectations.
Ryan, you and I were talking off podcast before we started this, just about these challenges, and an article that I read just this morning, talking about the Great Resignation, just this phenomena of people quitting their jobs, either silently, quietly, or not so quietly. Ever since COVID, the article was talking about the dysfunction of workplaces, and we've always had dysfunctional workplaces, and not to put anyone down, not saying that we're dysfunction, but every family has its idiosyncrasies, right? So the COVID just kind of magnified all of that with people working remotely and finding new freedom and being able to work from home. And so with fewer people being in the job market, in the labor pool, it has caused a kind of a pressure on employers in that those that are still in the job market, still working and employed, they have a little bit more leverage now with the employers with the dysfunctions that they've in the past just dealt with. So the question is this: with employees having a little bit more leverage and quitting their jobs easier, if an employer is not meeting their needs and expectations as employees, what role and how important is building good culture from the employer's standpoint? How important is it that a company build a good culture to retain those employees or contractors or whoever?
Yeah, Craig, that's a really great question, and culture is everything. Whether you have contractors or employees, it really is important with just how you treat people. The old adage is you win with people, and that's 100% true, and that's our philosophy here at WOW. Is we really try to treat everyone how we want to be treated. And our core values, one of our core values is we are family, and that's what I think people feel, no matter their employment status, whether they're 1099 or whether they're W-2. I think people feel here at WOW that they're part of a family. A lot of times you feel like you're out on an island. You're out there during the day. Sometimes you don't see anybody. Maybe you see a cat, in a house. That's about it. And you just want to, you want to know that you have people behind you that care about you. Again, whether you're 1099 or W-2, it doesn't matter, because we're all human. And so that's the approach we take here at WOW, is that human connection, and that we care. And it's not just lip service. We follow it up here at WOW. Everyone from, the people that answer the phone to Todd, we really try to live that out in how we talk and how we deal with our contractors, our coworkers, no matter what here at WOW. So I think culture is everything. When you're hiring people, that you just have to build that culture. It's like, wow, there's something about, no pun intended, there's something about that company that just is different. They care. So culture is everything.
Yeah, that's so insightful, Ryan. We have learned this the hard way throughout the years, and you've made a lot of incredible adjustments over the years, and you're so insightful to that word culture and to caring about people. Would you mind just sharing a way or two, not only that you might show that you care about the photographers, but how the office interacts with them? Or do you just have a couple of quick tips? Because I think it's either very natural or not natural for a business owner. And if it's not natural, then I would suggest that you put on your calendar to check in with individuals. But Ryan, what are some ways that business owners can consciously show, or what are ways that you consciously show those hardworking members out in the field that might just see a cat per day, that you care?
Yeah, no, great question. Just being there and being available. And I know sometimes that's hard, especially maybe if we have a staff here of, oh goodness, in the teens, 20s, dozens of people here, but, let's say you're a smaller company, but you can still at some point pick up the phone and just call them and just, say, hey, how are you doing? Because, especially sometimes when you're giving them feedback, and maybe, especially when they're new, some of the feedback is always like, hey, you got to get better. We had a complaint about this. Maybe sometimes that's the only feedback they've had. So picking up the phone and just saying, hey, how are you doing? What is it that I can do to make your day better? That's something I picked up from Todd, is he's always saying, hey, what can I do to make your day or your life better right now, or easier? And that's sometimes I just call and I say, hey, is there anything I can do to make you better? And one thing that one of some of our scheduling ladies do up front is every now and again, they'll send cards out. And of course, the big events, we try to send, gifts or cards if it's the birth of a child or anything. Those are all important things to celebrate. but sometimes it's just like, hey, we appreciate your hard work. And I've had people call me, our contractors call me and say, that meant so much to me. I got your card and I got, the words of encouragement, and it really made my day because you guys care about me, and that made me feel good. So, again, the golden rule. I remember being out there on the road, and I remember some of the calls, from Todd saying, hey, you're doing an awesome job. And that kept me going, So, easy stuff, phone calls, cards, gift cards, I make it part of my job to go out and visit our contractors. I'll pop in with a bottle of water and a granola bar. And maybe I'll go help them flip on their lights for them at the house. And even that, it's like, wow, he's out here and he cares about what I'm doing, and he's there to help. So I think the little things go a long way. And I had to learn that because that wasn't in my DNA. And so I have to write myself reminders. Hey, call this person, check in with this person, send this person a card, visit this person. So I think we have to be deliberate about it. But once you start doing that, it just becomes part of, again, the culture that you build. So
as you were talking about this, Ryan, I'm just going to pop this in here, Todd. We're talking about valuing people. And a long time ago, this is probably 20 years ago, I read a book by Dr. Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages. And it just talks about how every one of us, we communicate love and appreciation and value of another person in a way, and we receive value and appreciation and love in certain ways as well. And it talks about the 5 main ways that we as humans do that. And so as a company, as a manager or a leader, discovering how each person that we work with ticks, what motivates them, and finding their language, that'll go a long way in really building that relationship. So just what you shared, Ryan, just kind of sparked that memory of that book. It's really, really good book.
Yeah. And that's so true. And one thing that seems awkward as you grow in your leadership abilities, at least it did for me, is to ask somebody, what makes you feel appreciated? How could I show appreciation to you? And then write it down. If someone says, hey, I just like words of affirmation, or I like it posted in our Basecamp channel or Slack channel, or you don't really need to say anything, just a note every once in a while. Just write those things down and then do that for that person. We've all been there. It's 98 degrees. It's humid in the air, and the house doesn't have air conditioning, and a cat died in there. And you're like, I'm thirsty and hungry because I'm on my 5th appointment. And if you were to show up to that photographer's appointment and say, hey, here's cold water and here's a granola bar. I mean, as Ryan has suggested, it works. It seems silly, but please do not underestimate the value in doing these small little things to show your photographers that you appreciate them. So, Ryan, I've got one more here, a little bit of a loaded question. And, just to preface this, none of us here are attorneys on this podcast, but I think we need to cover it. And I think you can bring a lot of value and insight to it. So I've hired someone and I've heard you mention either employee or 1099. What the heck is that? I don't know. I know what an employee is. I don't know what a 1099 is. What do I do with those things, Ryan?
Yeah, great question. So our experience here at WOW is we hire 1099 contracts. So what does that mean? That means that our contractors, our photographers, our videographers that go out there, they are paid per job. And we sign a contract with them and we have a schedule of compensation, meaning for these certain services and these size of houses, you're going to get paid this amount. And we have everything kind of wrapped up nice in a box, that all these scenarios that they sign a contract and they're like, yep, I will do this service for you and you're going to pay me this fee. So it's per appointment. We've never had W-2 employees as photographers, but I know we've talked to other subscribers, other people that have, had their own media photography and videography, real estate media business. And they have W-2 employees, and that means they pay them hourly. And everyone knows what an hourly, kind of how that works, where they're driving around and they're paying them hourly. But as a business owner, you just have to A, decide what's going to work best for you, and then B, whichever you decide, you have to make sure that you're following, because there's guidelines and there's legalities, like you said, Todd, for each. And you just have to make sure that you talk to a lawyer and you make sure that you're treating your hires the correct way. And 1099s have a certain set of rules and W-2s have a certain set of rules. So I would definitely advise to get legal advice on that, and then make sure that you follow that business plan of however you hire your photographers. That and again, whatever works best for your business. That's the route you want to go. So.
Yeah, if I could just echo that, and I'll be short and sweet, you should talk to an attorney to decide how you are going to treat your photographers in the field. And when it comes time to hire an admin who's an hourly employee or a salary, you should talk to an attorney. Just save the trouble, spend the money. You're going to pay him a lot per hour, but it is worth it you owe it to your business, and you owe it to the employees and the contractors to make sure that you do it right, get a contract, get the rules and regulations. It differs in every state. So what we do in our states that we service are going to be different than your state. So even the advice we give, you need to go to someone that's local and get that advice.
Good information. And man, just a lot of great insight on working with people and attracting people to our business to work with us, to help us grow, and to take care of them, to retain them. Ryan, do you have any final thoughts on this subject of hiring and finding contractors and taking care of them that you want to share with our viewers and listeners?
Yeah, I want to end with this because, we talked about the overall kind of culture that you want to build with, whether it's a 1099 or W-2 employee, culture is important, supporting your staff however, you can. But, if I was a person out there starting my own business, like, okay, but who do I hire? Like what type of person do I hire? We didn't really get into that. And I will say this is I've hired people that have, the most experience in the world at video and photography. And I've also hired someone that just is a great person that I've taught them how to do photo and video. And I would hire the great person every day and twice on Sunday over someone that maybe has just a super long list of experience. You can teach someone to use a camera. You can't necessarily teach someone great customer service and just great attitude and character and personality.
True.
One example is we plucked one of our local photographers here out of a factory. He was doing factory work, but we had someone here local that vouched for him and said, hey, he's a hard worker and he's a great guy. And so we interviewed him. He went through the process and we hired him, and he's one of our best photographers here at WOW. He had some experience. It's not like he just picked up a camera for the first time. He dabbled in it, but this was a factory worker that was just a hard worker and a great guy. And he's one of our better photographers. So, when you're looking and you're sorting through those candidates, look at those signs that like, they're just a great person with great character. Because you can teach them the photo and video side. Now, it is nice if they come and they bring that experience and they have great character. That's a win-win. Those are rare. If you find those, man, keep them. But the nuts and bolts of it is again, you win with people. I know it's corny saying, but it's so true. You win with people. So, get those great character people and hold on to them.
Yeah, great insight, Ryan. And please, if you're out there listening, we've learned the hard way here at WOW through trial and error, and Ryan has looked at thousands of resumes and demo reels and manages a large team here across a few states. So, Ryan, if someone has a question and they want to shoot it over to you, how can someone get a hold of you?
Yeah, great question, Todd. Best way is you can email me at Ryan@WOW Video Tours. That's Ryan@WOW Video Tours. I'd love to talk. I got all this knowledge in my head that it's just bursting to get out. So I'd love to talk. I can't talk to my wife about it. She gets bored. So, email me, and I'd love to let you pick my brain. So, but it's Ryan@WowVideoTours.com.
Yeah, your wife and my wife say that just that glaze comes over their eyes. We love what we do, though, right?
Right.
All right, Todd, you want to wrap things up here for us?
Yeah, Ryan, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on and just great insight. It seems like it's always the easy things that at least I skip over, a thank you or just visiting someone in the field. And as Ryan suggested, those go such a long way. So we'd love to help you with any questions or concerns you have about maybe hiring or something else. Again, hello@spiro.media. Will come to Craig and I, and we'd love to help you along your journey and to building and growing your real estate media business.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like. And if you have colleagues that you think this information could benefit, feel free to share it with them as well. And if you're listening to the podcast right now, don't forget you can view the video podcast on YouTube. Just search for Spiro, and vice versa. If you're watching the video and you need to listen to it in between appointments or something, you can download it. Just go to look us up on Podbean. It's spiromedia.podbean.com, or you can catch us on any of the major podcast outlets. So again, thanks for joining us. Ryan, thanks for joining us. Great insight. And we're looking forward to another great topic next week. And in the meantime, just be thankful for what you've been blessed with and take a breath. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.